The U.S. military has positioned the HIMARS as the tip of its island-hopping anti-access and area denial strategy across the vast Indo-Pacific theater. However, one must be precise about its reach. The standard GMLRS rocket travels only about 80 kilometers, while the extended range version pushes to roughly 150 kilometers. The older ATACMS, which is gradually being phased out, can strike around 300 kilometers. But the true game-changer is the new Prism Increment 1, which has already been tested beyond the former INF treaty limit of 499 kilometers. Because naval transport is far too slow and vulnerable to enemy submarines and anti-ship missiles, the Pentagon relies on HIRAIN, or HIMARS Rapid Infiltration, which uses C-130 Hercules and C-17 Globemaster aircraft to deliver launchers directly into forward areas. This tactic allows a battery to take off from a secure staging base and appear anywhere in the world within hours to deliver precision effects. Yet this airborne insertion strategy hits a brutal wall if the target island completely lacks an active airstrip or a usable highway. American speed in building runways is not a myth, but it is certainly not magic, and depends heavily on ground conditions from the very first minute of the operation. For a C-130 tactical transport operating on ideal, compacted terrain, Red Horse engineers can level the earth and deploy interlocking AM2 aluminum matting to create an operational strip within 24 to 48 hours. For the heavier C-17 Globemaster, which requires a much stronger surface, engineers must spray advanced chemical soil stabilizers that take 4 to 7 days to harden the earth into a semi-permanent concrete-like layer. The absolute fastest approach is not building from scratch, but seizing damaged infrastructure, where airfield damage repair teams utilize rapid-setting concrete that cures in under 3 hours to patch bomb craters, even in freezing conditions. Exercises at Al Dhafra and Yokota have repeatedly proven that a runway can be returned to operational status in hours, not days, when repair is prioritized over new construction. Therefore, the advertised 24-hour miracle only applies to ideal dirt conditions, not to muddy jungles or loose coastal sand that can easily double the engineering timeline. In the real-world Puerto Rico deployment of 2026, the 823D Red Horse Squadron received rumors on a Sunday, formal orders by Wednesday, and only became airborne the following Saturday, taking nearly a full week just to get moving. What is genuinely fast is their work rate after landing, as they had milling operations underway within 48 hours of arrival on the ground, though repairing just 2 damaged taxiways still consumed 2 full weeks of non-stop labor. The Seabees possess a completely different DNA, hauling massive D9 bulldozers and heavy excavators via ships, landing craft, and air-cushioned hovercraft, making them slower to arrive but superior for long-term base hardening. This is precisely why the Pentagon now runs joint exercises like Silver Flag in Guam, where over 100 Red Horse personnel train alongside Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 133 to synchronize rapid airfield repair with sustained infrastructure expansion. Neither unit wins a pure speed race alone, but their combined synergy creates a robust engineering response for the Pacific theater. A common and dangerous misconception in military analysis is the belief that the first aircraft wave carries the HIMARS launchers directly into the contested zone. In reality, the opening sorties cannot carry a single rocket artillery piece, because doing so would trap multi-million-dollar assets inside a cargo hold with no runway to exit upon arrival. The initial wave must deliver combat control teams alongside a lightweight Red Horse Vanguard package, which includes compact foldable bulldozers, chainsaws, and expeditionary lighting kits to secure the drop zone. These first responders establish a minimum operating strip measuring roughly 3,000 feet by 60 feet, providing just enough clearance for subsequent heavy transports to land safely. Only after this bare-bones dirt strip is cleared, leveled, and stabilized can the secondary wave of C-130J or C-17 arrive with the actual HIMARS combat payloads. This precise sequential logic was demonstrated vividly during Exercise Cobra Gold 2026, where HIMARS units were rolled off from C-130J only after the engineers had verified the strip's load-bearing capacity. In the unforgiving geography of the first island chain, a static runway is a dead runway, as enemy reconnaissance satellites and drones will instantly detect freshly scraped Earth. This is why the Agile Combat Employment Doctrine explicitly rejects building permanent bases, favoring instead a lily pad strategy that treats each airstrip as a fleeting tactical node. Under this compressed timeline, a HIMARS battery must land, deploy its stabilizing jacks, fire its GMLRS or PRISM munitions, and exfiltrate within a matter of minutes to avoid counter-battery triangulation. The doctrinal definition of HIRAIN, as refined in 2025 exercises, emphasizes the ability to shoot and immediately displace before hostile radar systems can lock onto the firing location. This rapid cycle transforms a simple patch of aluminum matting into a temporary node within a distributed kill web, forcing the adversary to constantly recalculate their defensive posture. Every hour of construction directly buys minutes of survival, making the engineering sprint the absolute foundation of the entire strike operation. Despite the impressive headlines, the Pentagon rarely advertises the severe operational friction that can derail this ambitious engineering doctrine in real-world conditions. Muddy jungle terrain or soft beach sand can double the compaction and stabilization time, while persistent monsoon rains can render even AM2 matting unstable for heavy aircraft operations. Establishing a functional expeditionary strip requires multiple C-17 sorties just to deliver the construction equipment before any ammunition arrives, though the exact number varies by location and is never a fixed figure like 7. If an adversary deploys a reconnaissance drone to harass the construction site, the timeline is not automatically reset, but the entire operation must displace to a secondary location or increase camouflage efforts immediately. Because of these harsh variables, the lily pad strategy increasingly favors repairing existing infrastructure, such as civilian highways in the Philippines or abandoned World War II strips on Tinian, rather than bulldozing virgin jungle. Repurposing pre-existing surfaces consistently proves faster and more survivable than attempting a greenfield construction under enemy observation. Some analysis mistakenly included a fictional claim that Red Horse engineers carry jammers capable of spoofing synthetic aperture radar for 6 to 8 hours, which has no basis in any public military doctrine. What the units actually employ is rigorous emissions control, multispectral camouflage netting, and disciplined dispersal of equipment to minimize their visual and thermal signatures from the air. There is no electronic magic that can fabricate false terrain images for hours on end, as modern SAR satellites are highly resilient against basic jamming attempts. Instead, survival depends on physical speed and constant movement, hiding the runway in plain sight through natural terrain masking and rapid redeployment of the engineering assets. The real electronic warfare layer in the Pacific comes from dedicated Navy and Air Force seed platforms, not from the construction squadrons themselves. Therefore, the 24-hour airfield survives not by spoofing the enemy's eyes, but by vanishing before the enemy can focus their gaze. So, what is the honest answer to how fast America can build a new landing strip for HIMARS in a contested environment? Under ideal soil conditions, engineers can open a C-130 capable strip in 24 to 48 hours, a semi-permanent C-17 surface in 4 to 7 days, and a repaired runway in under 12 hours, using rapid setting concrete on existing pavement. Yet the true takeaway for strategic planners is that the United States is no longer fighting to hold permanent concrete fortresses across the Pacific Ocean. They are fighting for transient tactical windows that appear, deliver a devastating rocket salvo, and disappear back into the logistics network before the adversary can retaliate. The combination of Red Horse Airborne Sprint, ACE dispersal tactics, rapid repair concrete, and disciplined signature management creates a pop-up airfield that fundamentally disrupts the enemy defensive timeline. In the vast expanses of the Western Pacific, the race is not about steel or asphalt, but about the ruthless mathematics of hours and minutes. 24 hours is just enough time to change the entire tactical calculus of a contested amphibious landing zone.